We're ready to start when you are.
Well, let me get my mic on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a city council meeting, a city of Hollister. Um, this is a regular meeting of June 16, 2025. We're beginning the meeting at 6:30 exactly. And we are on Zoom now, right? Is everything functioning properly on Zoom now?
Yes.
Audio, video. We've had some technical issues in some of our previous meetings. Okay, so it looks like I'm getting a thumbs up. So it looks like we're all good. Can we do a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Pache,
Present.
Councilmember Resendez,
We should be on Zoom.
looks like we lost Councilmember Resendez for right now. Okay, Councilmember Morales, Councilmember DeAnda,
Here.
and Mayor Stevens.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, so Councilmember Morales, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so I'm just going to check with City Attorney. Do we have any report outs from closed sessions?
There was nothing to report out from the last closed session.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to public input. Now, this is the time for people to come up to the podium and speak on any agenda, any item not on the agenda that is relevant to the jurisdiction of this council. So make sure you fill out your speaker cards. They're available in the lobby, and then bring them up to our city clerk. Write your name, and then when you come to the podium, state your name and your city, just for our records. If you're on Zoom, then just raise your hand using the icon, and if you're on your cell phone, press *9. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and then we'll have a maximum of 30 minutes per subject matter. City Clerk, do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor Stevens, we currently have 5. The first speaker is Francesca Donati.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Francesca Donati. I'm from Hollister. I'm excited and honored to be Miss San Benito 2025. I'm here tonight to invite you all to some of the Saddle Horse Show's upcoming events. We are going to start off strong with our Saddle Horse Show Downtown Parade this Saturday, June 21st at 11 a.m. June 22nd is a busy but fun-filled day, starting with our figure 8 eliminations, an event you will only find in San Benito County, at 8 a.m., and the jackpot roping at 11 a.m., followed by our membership barbecue lunch at 1:30 p.m. You can purchase tickets for the barbecue at the Horse Show office at Bellotto Park or at the barbecue. For all nights of our show, you can purchase tickets online on our website. The Saddle Horse Show Museum encases a rich history and display of our horse show traditions, and I would really encourage you to come out and check it out for free throughout the weekend while you're at the show. The Western Art and Equipment Show features booths where you are able to purchase art, jewelry, tack, and other unique items, and will be open on Friday at 11 a.m. Friday at 4 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. The Horse Show and Rodeo will be held June 27th through 29th. On Friday, June 27th, there will be wine and beer tasting at 4:30, followed by the rodeo at 6:30 p.m. Our theme for that night is Public Safety Night to honor all of our local heroes. Saturday, our theme is Patriotic Day to honor our flag, our active service members, and our veterans. The halter horse classes start at the U-Barn at 9:30, followed by our Saddle Horse Show Special Rodeo at 10 a.m. The show starts at 1:30 p.m. That night, the doors will open for our annual Cowboy Barbecue Dinner, Dance, and Auction at 5 p.m. You can purchase tickets at the Saddle Horse office or from a director. On June 28th, the show will start at 1:30 p.m. Our theme for the day is Heritage Day to celebrate all the different cultures at the rodeo. For more information or if you have any questions, please visit our website or stop by the Saddle Horse office at Bellotto Park. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And can I just say that I saw this young lady and her predecessor give their speeches at the Flag Day ceremony downtown. And I just have to say, I'm so impressed and congratulations. I think you're going to do a great job. And I'm going to get to one of the events and I'm going to look for you to congratulate you in person. But congratulations and thank you for representing this region so nicely. Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker.
Yes, I just want to note for the record that Councilmember Resendez has joined the meeting a couple minutes ago.
Okay.
Our next speaker is James Morgan, to be followed by Tammy Alves, I believe it is.
Hi, City Council, Mayor, I'm James Morgan. I just came by to thank you for opening up the motorcycle rally on 4th of July. And I had a few things I wanted to mention about that. I've been to the rally many times through the years, and we don't seem to have very many problems or anything like that at the rally, and we're hoping that everybody's behavior is good this year as well. Right now, most of the people that do show up here are family oriented people. You know, they bring their children, their wives, everybody shows up for these events. Some of the motorcycles are more custom, so they do have different things where they might have to tow the motorcycles in here. And we're hoping that they can get along with the security as well. And we're a little bit concerned with the officers' behavior, our behavior. I'm very into personal behavior. Manners goes a long ways with me, kindness. If you approach people properly as gentlemen, and they will probably respond better. So what I would like to see is okay, there's going to be all types of motorcycles, and we want everybody to have a wonderful experience. I mean, as well as you guys. If you come down to the town, it's your town, you might want to come visit and speak with some of the people that are there. Some of the bikes, like I said, they're custom, so they're being as legal as possible. You know, they might not be riding them all over town. They might tow it in and park it there on the street. And we'd like that to happen. Manners goes a long ways. I mean, it's just obvious. And there's, you know, everyone shows up to this, all races, types of people, different ages, all different bikes, just all kinds of people show up. And we all seem to get along, and we all do the best we can to get along with each other as showing up. So I'd appreciate it if all the officers on duty show complete respect and honorable behavior, as well as they should. Please, thank you, and excuse me. We'll show respect and will be appreciated. You know, when you show up, you know, you can talk to a person. You don't have to bark at them and yell at them, things like that. We do a lot of car shows. There's 1,000 cars. Nobody gets in trouble. There's parking situations sometimes, a little bit of, oh, hey, you broke down. Can we help you move it? Things like that. But that's what I came by for, to thank you for starting it again.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I appreciate your words. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Tammy Avalos, to be followed by Sue Logue.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Tammy Aviles, and I am with the Friends of the San Benito County Free Library. And I just wanted to say hi. Haven't been here in a while. Got to get back in the habit. We wanted to, thank you for your continuing support and annual allocation of funds for the county library. It serves, a lot of the residents of Hollister, and it's a busy, active library. It includes books, it includes resources, services, free Wi-Fi. It also includes snacks for the kids. I've gone in and I've seen the kids come in after school and pick up a snack and hang out in the library for a little bit. So we the Friends are working with the county on the library renovation and expansion project. And that is a $10 million grant with a match from the county. And so we wanted to see if, we could kind of circle back and meet with each of you and kind of give you an update on what's happening at the library. And if it's okay, if I could leave my business card with the city clerk to share my contact info with you
Sure.
and city manager. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Ms. Avila. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Sue Logue, to be followed by Lee Shahanian.
Hi, City Council, Mayor Susan Logue. I'm with the Friends of the Library, so we're a tag team, Tammy and I. We've been having a really exciting summer reading program, and I wanted to make sure the public was aware of it at the library. And this past Monday, we had Rhythm and Roots, and that was with Louis Cruz Beltran, and he was fantastic. He had all these instruments, drums, and different maracas and things, and told the kids stories about Latin America, Africa, spoke some Afrikanese, and the children really enjoyed it, as did the parents. And then the volunteers were called up, and they happened to be one of the suckers that had to go up and play an instrument. But it worked out fun. We had a good time. And then this last Friday, they had art with the Hollister Art Collab. And then on the Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, they've got Science Heroes. And so that's another activity the parents can sign the kids up for, and they can come in. And then on Wednesday, the 25th, it's called For Goodness Snakes. We're going to have a snake expert come in with snakes. And so the kids are really excited about that. And then on Friday, 7/11, that would be July 11th, will be a succulent workshop and how to build a succulent. So it's just one of the many things the library provides for the community and for our children. And just wanted to let you know about that and get the word out. And please tell anyone who's interested about it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. Next speaker?
Our next speaker is Lee Shahanian.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
We can.
Okay. My name is Lee Shahanian. Thank you, Mayor Stevens and City Council members, for the opportunity to comment this evening. I want to ask each of you to please review the email and documents I sent you this morning regarding the need for a zoning change. My family owns the 4.5 acres of empty land. It's on San Felipe between Maple Street and Santa Ana Road. As I explained in my email, the opportunity to develop this land for a mixed-use project that would have been a beautiful fit for Hollister ended in April of 2023, when the proposed general plan zoning for our property was changed from 20 dwelling units per acre to 30 dwelling units per acre. Appeals to the city had no effect, and with this zoning change, there has been no further interest from any developer. I understand that you are now reviewing various aspects of the General Plan 2040, including zoning. Based on the material I sent you this morning, I believe that zoning of 20 dwelling units per acre, 20 dwelling units per acre, will allow a great infill project for Hollister. Let's talk. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shanahan. Any
And
more speakers?
Those are all the speakers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to all the speakers, and we'll just continue on. So we're going to go to the consent agenda. Do any members of the council have any brief questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay, not seeing any. I'm gonna move to public comment. Do we have any public comment on any consent items?
Yes, Mayor Stevens, we have a speaker, Tammy Avalis.
Good evening again. This is my other hat. I am Tammy Aviles, and I'm a board member of the Seniors Council of Santa Cruz and San Benito counties. And I'm here speaking on 6.7, 6.11, 6.12, 6.13, all related to the senior center on West Street and the support of the Seniors Council in its administration of the federal, state funds down to helping our seniors locally. And there's change coming effective July 1st, but Seniors Council and these vendors are all committed to continuing, and streamlining the service to our seniors with the meals, with transportation, and with caregiver support. So we just, want you to know that we are making our local San Benito County seniors a priority, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aviles.
Our next speaker is Clay Kempf.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Tammy's other tag team member. So
Welcome.
big on partnerships and shouldn't be a surprise. So I just want to thank the council and staff for your continued support for senior programs. And just one little tidbit about what the Seniors Council does. We're the area agency on aging of both Santa Cruz and San Benito counties. So in that capacity, we get about 3.2 million per year to operate either directly or through contract senior programs in the area. Because Hollister and San Benito County entirely has limited resources to match those funds or to do a similar thing, we overfund San Benito County. And to break down the numbers a little bit, 17%, if we look at the two counties as a whole, 17% of that population lives in San Benito County, 83% in Santa Cruz County. But recognizing that challenge, we take an extra 50% of the funds that are available and allocate them over here. So we have a 75% breakdown. And again, that's just to honor the needs that are here and really the limited resources. So thank you for matching that. Your funds allow us to continue in the role of the AAA. We do, by law, are required to get local jurisdiction match. So you're helping us do that. And the contribution allows us to continue to overfund San Benito County. So much appreciated. And before I go off the mic, I just want to give a special thanks to Charles Wall of Parks and Rec, and of course your city manager, David Maroney. The two of you have just been great to work with on this process, and it couldn't be easier. I think the last time we met, I walked out and kind of said, if I could write a script for cooperation, it would have looked like the meeting we just had.
Nice.
So you're very lucky to have those two individuals, and I feel very lucky to work with all of you and with David and Charles. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Next speaker.
Those are all the speakers. on this
Okay.
item.
Okay, good. So I'm going to close public comment and just check, are any council members wanting to pull the items? No? Okay, so can I then entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve consent items?
Okay,
A second.
and we're just going to go ahead and do a vote. So all in favor? Aye.
You
Aye.
may-
Mayor Stevens,
you need
everything,
to
everything needs to be via roll call vote
Oh, I'm so
tonight.
sorry. Okay, so
No problem.
sorry. Let's do the roll call vote. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Resendez,
Yes.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember DeAnda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we're going to continue on with our public hearing, 7.1 presentation and approval of the fiscal year 2025-26 recommended budget, fiscal year 25-26 appropriations limit, the establishment of Fund 172, parentheses, Proposition 172, and the fiscal year 2025-26 authorized position summary. Can we have a staff report, please?
Okay, thank you. David Marioni, City Manager, and I have the pleasure of presenting this evening's recommended budget for fiscal year 25-26. And give us just a second. Yeah. If you could shrink all the little Zoom guys there. There we go. Okay, so before we get started, I'd just like to say a few words and then I'll walk you through the presentation and answer any questions you may have. So it's with deep appreciation and gratitude that I present to you the recommended fiscal year 25-26 budget. I'd like to begin by extending my sincere gratitude to each of you, our department heads, our dedicated staff, and the residents of our community. Your collaboration, commitment, and input have been instrumental in shaping a budget that reflects our shared priorities and values. This budget represents a significant accomplishment, a balanced general fund budget achieved through careful planning, responsible decision-making, and collective effort. I commend everyone involved for their diligence and transparency brought to this process. While this budget meets our core financial objectives, it must be emphasized that it will require close and ongoing monitoring. Economic uncertainties remain, and we must remain vigilant and adaptable in our financial stewardship. The revenue outlook shows positive momentum in property tax growth, reflecting a healthy real estate market and our community's continued appeal. At the same time, sales tax revenues have remained relatively flat, reminding us of the cautious consumer environment and the evolving retail landscape. Importantly, this budget strengthens our general fund balance and restricted reserves to 16.8%, a prudent and forward-looking step that enhances our resilience against unforeseen challenges. It also reflects a thoughtful balance between fiscal responsibility and our commitment to people. No layoffs are included in this budget, and I want to just reiterate that from the start. And essential services remain intact. We are not alone in facing difficult times. Like many of our neighboring cities and counties, we continue to grapple with rising costs, uncertain revenues, and evolving service demands. Yet through shared resolve and a unified approach, we're well positioned to meet these challenges head on. I'm confident that the great work of the City Council, combined with the professionalism and dedication of our city staff, will continue to move our community in the right direction. Together, we've laid the groundwork for a sustainable future while preserving the quality of services our residents expect and deserve. With that, the staff recommendation this evening, I have it up on the screen. Mayor, you read it as part of the intro, so and we'll close with this. But essentially, I'm going to present the budget. We'll have the opening of the public hearing to give comment. We'll close the public hearing, and then the resolution that is presented to you does a multitude of things. It would approve the appropriations limit, the authorized position summary, the establishment of Fund 172, and approving the fiscal year 25-26 recommended budget. So the goals and priorities, as we've heard, we've done multiple budget meetings with you throughout the year. And so the goals and priorities are to strengthen the fund balance, maintain our restricted reserves, continue to work to increase revenues, align expenditures with revenue projections, continue to increase transparency via the creation of Fund 172, the prevention of staff layoffs, ensuring provision of essential services, and developing a plan to provide general fund transfers to funds with outstanding fund balances. So just for the sake of the general public, we do this typically at every budget hearing. Just the principles overall. We have a fiscal and budget policy that was adopted by the council in 2016 that serves as the kind of the guiding light. We also are building it within generally accepted accounting principles, so here GAAP, and then Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB. So some of the items that we bring forward on our finance side, we have to align with these. And then other best practices, including ongoing guidance from the city's external auditor. So the budget, it's an annual plan and it's your policy document. It's a summary of projected revenues and expenditures and a staffing plan to implement operational goals. The strategic and disciplined investment of public funds for short-term and long-term obligations. And it's meant to be monitored and amended as needed based on evolving needs, new laws, or changes in projected revenues and expenditures. And so one of the themes you'll hear is, we need to keep our eye on it. A budget is just that, it's a projection. And so as time passes through the year, that's why we do the quarterly updates to do a check-in. As far as the process, staff has reviewed and referenced the policies. The Administrative Services Department coordinated with the departments to understand needs, changes in revenues, expenditures, et cetera. That gets prepared, and then that comes to my office where I oversee it and review and work with the department heads going forward to have a better understanding and bring it to you ultimately for your consideration. So as for the monitoring process, this budget is effective as of July 1, 2025. And it creates your spending authority. So it gives staff the spending authority to expend public funds. The departments conduct ongoing reviews, and then staff present quarterly budgeting monitoring reports to the city council. So your council has already had a few of those this calendar year. And then we do a mid-year budget presentation in February of 2026 to take a deep dive into evaluating the need for budget amendments, considering doing additional projects and activities if things are looking better, or sometimes you have to look at, do you want to pause activities and projects because maybe the tides have turned some. So overall, our organizational chart. So you have the electorate, which is the community, and they elect a city council and the city treasurer. The city council has 2 employees, the city attorney and the city manager. And then through the city manager, we have our departments, which are administrative services. That's your HR, your finance, your risk, the airport, the city clerk's office, community development, which is your planning, your cannabis, your housing, your building. You have the fire department, the IT department, parks and rec, police, which also includes animal control and code enforcement, and then public works, which has a series of divisions within it. So for the revenue forecast, we have a sales tax consultant by the name of HDL that staff work with. They're pretty much the go-to in the state. The county works with them as well. Many municipalities work with them. So looking like general sales tax revenues flat. So when one's flat, measure W, which is your extra percent. Sales tax will trend the same way. So there's a little bit of growth, but nothing that's monumental. And that's pretty much a trend you're seeing all across the state. And a lot of bigger communities, you're actually seeing that sales tax and come down. So flat is actually, there's a lot of cities that are wishing they would have flat tax projections right now on the sales tax side. We do have the new 12% TOT rate. So the TOT that was passed on the ballot in November. This is your hotel tax. It was at 8%. That does go up to 12%. Just as a reminder, we do have the hotel incentive program for the 2 larger hotels over in the Gateway area. And so they do get a reimbursement of 70% of the tax they generate until they reach $2 million or the 10-year mark, kind of like a vehicle warranty, whatever one they hit first. So as those revenues grow, then the repayment could grow as well. Hotels do adjust their rates based on the tax rate. So we'll keep a close eye to see how that plays out, because this is a significant change going from 8 to 12%. And 12% is pretty much the normal. 8% was very low. We work with the assessor's office prepares a roll every year, and that's a report that they put out that projects property tax and what that's looking like. So we have projected growth, as I mentioned in my opening statement. And then the revenue sources that we had talked about at the last budget hearing, the one-time revenue sources have been removed from this budget. So as they're called, one-time revenue sources, so you can only spend them one time. So the revenue policy. So just wanted to add the fire contract amendments have been executed since we last met. And so the budget does take into consideration the new contract, as well as the fact that those amendments had provisions for basically this year. So that is additional revenue that we will get to bill in our fourth quarter billing, which essentially creates a stronger fund balance to carry forward for the next year. As a reminder, I had this in last year's presentation, but it's a good reminder. There is no Measure G funding budgeted, revenue. Starting in this fiscal year that we're in now, those funds were no longer coming to the city or the cities or the county. And so those are going into, COG is retaining those for the Highway 25 project. That doesn't mean that, the years that we were receiving those revenues, we would build our fund balance and then use those in projects. So some of the projects that you approved in the capital improvements plan back in March do include Measure G funding. So just because you don't have revenue this year doesn't mean you can't spend the dollars that you've saved over the last few years. And then just as a reminder, cost recovery goals, this is right from our budget policy, should be based on the total cost of delivering the service, including direct costs, departmental administration costs, and organization-wide support costs, such as the accounting, the personnel, the IT, the legal services, fleet maintenance, and insurance. So we should always be recovering the costs that it takes to provide the service. We did complete our comprehensive user fee study this fiscal year. Just moments ago in the consent calendar, you did approve the annual inflationary adjustment that is built into that. So each year that will be part of your budget process. That's very normal. And so until there is a new fee study done, you typically do the fee studies every 4 to 5 years. We do have the ability to do individual fees as one-offs and study them. And if it's minor, I can do it across my desk. If it's major, I could bring it back to you for consideration. Sometimes you'll have a process that a community member, may need to fill out an application for a particular service. There could be a state law change that requires us to do 3 times the work to process that. That's a moment where you would come back and revisit the fee and adjust it to actual costs. Another snippet from our budget policies is they'll be reviewed and updated on an ongoing basis to ensure that they keep pace with the changes in the cost of living, as well as changes in the methods and levels of service delivery. In implementing this goal, a comprehensive analysis of city costs and fees should be made at least every 5 years. In the interim, fees will be adjusted by annual changes in the consumer price index. So those items in that policy are what you've accomplished this year as recent as this evening. The enterprise fund revenues and rates are being finalized. We will be bringing that forward to you shortly after the break. With the changes in the UAL and the postings that I had discussed at the last meeting, Department Head Mr. William Vaya and I are working with the consultant to adjust the projections, and we will bring that forward to you for your consideration. So the general fund revenues by type. So we have a chart that runs through these, so you can see how our funding comes in. Your taxes are about 35%. Your franchise fees are 3%. Your licensing and permits at 11%. Intergovernmental, so things like the fire contract would be intergovernmental, different grants from state agencies and federal agencies. That's at 16%. Your charges for service, we just talked about that. Across the general fund, that's 10%. Use of assets, coming in nominally at 0%. Think of that as your interest. And then fines and forfeitures, and then other at 11.7 million. I'd like to point out that that's your transfers in as well. And so of your Measure W, you have about $9.1 million coming in. And so any transfers in from other funds typically is the majority of these costs or of these revenues. Thank you. So expenditures by type, personnel at 58%, service and supply at 22%, contractual at 12%. Again, this is of general fund. Capital at 1%. So many of the capital projects that we're doing this year are paid for either with grants or like the Measure G funds or impact fees. We're being very mindful of the limitations of the general fund this year. And then other, where you see that's a bigger jump. And that's because we have budgeted there the pension debt that we spoke about at a few meetings ago. And so that's actually listed because it's a debt. You do see some communities listed as personnel. We felt it was best to list it as what it is which is a debt. There was, just in the budgeting methodology, we did separate those two items, the retirement costs for existing employees, out from that. In years past, there was some of that debt cost built into the retirement rate. So when you do that, it does bring the personnel line down some. But I think this is a much more easy to follow method and really separates it out. And so you have two line items rather than it all lumped into one. So you could see the cost of your current personnel and then the cost of the pension debt that we have to fund. And think about, we mentioned it the last time, debt is debt. So I start with the pension debt. I start with any lease payments. You start with any of those debt payments. Then another item that we do is we do expenditures by function. So, we get the common question we get a lot is public safety. So that is at 58% of the general fund. You'll see administration at 19%. One of the things that we are currently working on is what is known as a cost allocation plan. It's actually a requirement of the audit that we're working on. And what that does is it comes up with a rate that you would then essentially bill to the departments for the administrative time. So think about it as, I think the user fee slide talked about it. It's your HR, your payroll, your IT costs, just your basic overhead, the cost of your computer systems that serve all of the departments. So as we finish that and bring that to you for approval, we would use that methodology in next year's budget. And what you would see is that administration percent come down because those costs would get billed out to the other functions. And so you'd see those percentages rise because right now, as you see these functions, there's no cost for HR, there's no cost for personnel, and many of these departments use those services quite a bit. And this is lumped departments by function. Expenditures by department. So I'll just start from the upper left with the fire department. This is general fund at 28%. Administration, now this is departments. So this is, administration is multiple departments. Again, your finance, your HR, your risk, your city council, your city treasurer, city clerk, IT, all of the different city manager's office. At 11%, parks and rec with the general fund at 4%, development services at 10%, public works at 4%. Again, a lot of public works costs are picked up by either enterprise rates, water, sewer, different grants, those types of things, gas tax. So you'll see a variance from general fund to all funds. Animal control at 3%, your non-departmental at 8%, engineering at 5%, capital at 0%, and then the police department at 27%, and that includes code enforcement as well. So expenditures by function on all funds and how they're lumped is we have quality of life. So that's at 49%, public safety at 23%. Again, these are all funds. So this is impact fees being spent. This is grants. This is rates. This is CFD funding coming in. So that's why you typically see that separation there from departments where you see it grow on the quality of life side, because that's going to be your roads. That's going to be your road project. That's going to be your roundabout at 150, at the old 156, or I guess 4th and Graph. All of those projects go in. So you see that shift. Again, administration, that number's that 22%. A, it's without the cost plan, and B, does include the staffing at our office down the street for the water and sewer. That's where you do where you do all your paperwork to start your service, to stop your service, pay your bills, all of those. That's included here. And so as we do the cost allocation plan, you'll see that get spread out. So that'll probably shift a little bit. in the next budget year. And then expenditures by department of all funds. Again, capital, this is across all funds. So you have $35.7 million budgeted for capital projects. Police department across all funds at 14.2, which is 11%. The fire department at 15.5 million at 12%. Administration at 6. Parks and Rec at 2%. Development services at 4. Public Works, and that's outside of capital projects, at 17%. And then animal control at 1, non-departmental at 16%, engineering at 2, and the airport at 2%. So I'd like to take a second. There's a lot of bars on this screen, but I think it's a very powerful slide. So we start at 21-22. This is kind of a recap of some of the conversations we've had, where your revenue, that's the darker blue, was coming in. This is on the general fund side at 43.4 million, where you had expenses of 39. And we talked about, going from, the 30 to 40 to 50. So when you start at 21-22, you're at the 39 mark. At 22-23, with the rescue plan, you're basically almost even at 50 million. If you take out the rescue plan, that's that third set. That's where we showed the difference of, where we were at 40.8 million versus 50.1 of expenditures. For 23-24 actual, our revenue was at 44 million, with the actuals at 49.7. This year, the projections coming in at 50 million on revenue. That is with the one-time funding, and then with a projection of 49.5 for expenses. This year's budget brings both of those items down to 46.4 or 46.5 million. And then as we continue for the next 4 years, you see a very close revenue and expense as they grow together. I'll talk about, what goes into that as well in a few slides. But that's where I'm saying we're going to have to continue working hard to start growing some space on the revenue versus expenses, because as they're tight there, you do have some growth, but we would like to see more. So we talked about at the last meeting vacant positions. So there is a request in your budget. There's a summary in the packet of a request to eliminate 31 full-time vacant positions. Again, they are vacant. And this is a key element of preventing layoffs. I wanted to point out again, this does not include any staff layoffs or compensation reductions. A few presentations ago, we showed you a slide of positions. And so this is the same slide we showed you with just the recommended year on there of 191. So it is a significant drop. But if you go back and you look at the revenues versus expenditures, we really need to line these back up, because that was a significant piece of why those were the expenses were so far above the revenue that was coming in. We do have some one-time expenses in the budget across all funds. We have our airport perimeter fence relocation. We have our general plan and housing element updates. A few repair at Fire Station 2. In this current year's budget, we had basically the prepayment for the chassis for the aerial ladder truck. Just due to timing, that's going to carry over to next year. So, we'll have it in this year's budget, and it'll be a 0 for actuals, and then we just rebudget it for next year. So I wanted to be sure to point that out. We have the public safety answering point payment that we mentioned before. We had there'll be a continuation of the Valley View Park water feature repairs. The police department has a handful of items, license plate reader, body and dash cam replacements, and HVAC repairs. We're using a multitude of funds and trying to stay clear of the general fund for a lot of those. And then on Public Works, we talked about the 10-year permit renewal at the landfill, the community center bathrooms, and the sewer lateral replacement at $325,000. You did approve that contract as part of consent this evening. So We'll work there. There'll be probably be a little bit of cost this year because we had it budgeted this year, and then we'll just we re-budget for next year because that by the time they get started and the work gets done, it'll cross 2 years. As part of your consent item, you did approve the utilization of the $250,000 donation from Amazon to go towards that project, which does free up those dollars and are included. And I'll get to that as part of further on in the presentation. And then we have your council approved upgrades to the Briggs building elevators. And so that work will take place as well. So I want to take a minute to talk about Fund 172. So we're requesting to establish a new fund in this year's budget. Just briefly, Prop 172 was passed by voters in 1993 and was a permanent half-cent sales tax to support public safety services across the state. It was in response to a shift. It was called ERAF back in the early 90s, which moved a lot of property tax from cities and counties directly to education, and had honestly a crippling effect on cities and counties. This was a way to help restore some of that funding. It helped restore a lot more for counties than it did for cities throughout the state. And so these funds are allocated to help finance essential services. In our situation, it would be fire and police and other areas. You know, counties have more public safety departments. You can even fund lifeguards if you're, if you're on a coastal city or county. But it helps offset the costs of personnel and provide timely and effective public safety services. You can use it for more than personnel. In our case, we typically receive about $250,000 to $275,000. So that pot that comes in, we see about 5% of the pot that comes in for San Benito County. The county gets about 95% of the pot. We get 5%, and San Juan Bautista gets a fraction. Historically, we've included these as a line in our budget called public safety sales. It's public safety sales tax, but on the reports, it would say public safety sales. It's treated like a general fund dollar. What we are recommending is to establish, I picked 172 just because that fund number was available. It makes it easy to remember, to increase transparency as to how these funds are expended annually. So what we have right now in there is we have it budgeted about $272,000, I believe, and we have the costs of partial costs of a police officer and a firefighter in there. So essentially, that's what you're going to see each year. This grows a little bit with our sales tax, but it's not a direct growth that you can align to sales tax in our Measure W. So it is something we work with our sales tax consultant on, and they do provide projections as well on this. Then I want to talk just for a moment about a fund repayment plan. So the city has established various special revenue, capital projects, debt service, and enterprise funds to account for revenues that are restricted to certain activities. As we've identified in previous budget presentations, we have about 4 funds that have held negative balances for multiple years. It's crucial to understand the cause of these and to take appropriate actions. A prolonged negative fund balance can indicate financial difficulties and may necessitate completing inter-fund transfers of fund balance, most typically from the city's general fund. And these transfers are made with the intent for repayment and shall constitute a loan between those involved funds. So we'll be working this summer to bring you a fund repayment plan. For this year, one of the items that was one of the funds, and I'll just skip to the next slide, was our FEMA COVID-19 fund. I've been working with the state through Cal OES, who manages the FEMA project, to bring in about $219,000 into that fund. And so that'll help offset basically the first year of funds towards this. As I had mentioned earlier, a few presentations ago, I was aiming to start making those payments in this current year. Based on receiving that revenue, I'm treating that as basically your first year payment to help give us a little bit of breathing room as we move forward. The local transportation fund, we're working through that. We were able to work with the state and shift some SB1 dollars That's got a balance of just shy of about $100,000 for random engineering costs from multiple years ago. That will have to be a general fund dollar. We do have the 4th of July rally fund that we, the last rally, it sat with a negative balance over the past few years. And so we'll be working to restore that, as well as we host the rally. Any revenues and or expenses would go into there, along with sponsorships, revenue from vendors, from sales, from parking, from business licenses, those types of things. I did mention that we had the Amazon funds for the community center as part of your budget. That did free up funds that we had previously allocated into this budget year, and we're going to have to carry forward with that free up of one-time money from Amazon on the community center side. Your budget does contemplate a transfer in of $250,000 of general fund to help offset the costs of the rally. That's due to the nature of the one-time funding coming in. As far as the Airport Enterprise Fund, been working with our airport director on the cash balance there. The airport is one that you have on your fund balance summary that will show a larger number. To make it simple, the larger number also considers assets and the valuation of the property. And so when you get to a cash perspective, we've been working to shore that up. They are bringing a balanced budget this year where their revenues are coming in stronger than their expenditures. And that includes working with the airport to do a general fund transfer back to us, to the general fund, of $200,000 and for this year. And that's to offset some equipment purchases that were made using general fund. And so typically the airport would live within its own fund. And so our airport director and I have been working together to put something to help offset and to start paying the general fund back for the support it had received, as well as the great work he's doing to bring revenues up. And looking at his rental study. A rent study doesn't mean that they're just going to say charge more rent. They could actually say charge less. And so he's been doing a great job of looking at ways to increase revenue, trying to get grants to come in to, ultimately build more hangars. At the end of the day, you will need to add more infrastructure to get to higher revenues in there. They're pretty maxed out. So in summary, the general fund revenues equal the expenditures for this year. The projected general fund year-end balance, a fund balance and restricted reserves at roughly 7.8%, which is 16.8% of your expenditures. Our goal in our policy is 20%. The GFOA, that's the board that awards us the budget awards. Their best practice is 2 months, which is 16.7%. So essentially, it's you always want to be at least at a minimum of 2 months of general fund expenditures. To me, that still seems like it could go 2 months goes very fast. But that's where your budget is if all of the projections work out the way they're placed in the budget. And again, a budget is your projections. It addresses the multiple one-time expenses, no staff layoffs or compensation reductions within this budget, realigns the expenditures and budgeted positions with revenues. It aims to ensure fund balance restoration in future years. The CIP projects that you approved in March of 2025, we'll always bring the CIPs in the third quarter for you guys to consider, and then we build that into the budget. If we're in a position where, the budget gets too tight, we would bring that back and say, well, we funded 80%, or we may have to take one off. But as you could see, most of our projects were done with either grant money or dedicated revenue sources. It does address the unfunded accrual liability concerns. I have been working with CalPERS on that to look at some hardship programs. Still waiting to hear back. They have a process. It's not anything that they do overnight. And so, but they have been extremely gracious and very, very responsive to us. And so part of this is, if approved, then I'll work with them and provide them this budget and come back. It doesn't mean that they're going to take any of the debt away. it would be probably something where they lowered that and put it on the back end. And typically when that happens, you end up accruing more interest in the long run. Anything that they would bring forward would be something I would bring back to you for consideration. But as the budget is built, it assumes that that doesn't happen. I can't factor in something that I don't know will happen or not. Working to finalize the enterprise rate studies. It increases transparency via the creation of Fund 172 and includes multiple efficiencies across measures across all departments. The departments did a great job working together, as well as looking within their budgets to find creative solutions to address the budget challenge. Our department heads are here in the audience this evening if there are any questions of them. And of course, I'm available for questions. And in closing, we have the recommendation that is included in your staff report this evening. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And if not, we can open the public hearing.
Thank you for that great report. We greatly appreciate it. And let me check with members of the council. Any questions? Questions? Not seeing any. Okay, let's open public hearing. So go ahead and open public hearing. Do we have any speakers on this item?
We have no speakers for this item.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roland, did you have a question?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Oh, no speakers on this item? Okay,
No.
I'm going to close the public hearing and come back to the council and check in for any discussion, deliberation. Councilmember Morales, go ahead.
Yes. So first, I want to thank our city manager for this beautiful binder, which is really nicely outlined. I just want to acknowledge that it must have taken a lot of time and energy to put that together. I did read it. Thank you. And it was very nicely put together and it made a lot of sense. So I wanted to also thank staff for putting that together. I'm sure I probably used their weekend to do that. So thank you for prioritizing not only our community and city services, but also prioritizing our staff and not having any layoffs or reductions in terms of the pay or benefits. That was kind of one of my goals in terms of looking at the budget to make sure that we were taking care of the people that take care of our community. I also really appreciate that the city is allocating a 172, which creates that transparency. I know that our community gets very confused about measures that would have been passed or money that we get that's allocated for public safety. Public safety is a huge cost to the city, and looking to see what that money is and how that money is spent, even if it's a few dollars, just really creates a sense of trust that we really need to make sure that our community has in government. I just also just wanted to make sure that was very clear that the bike rally is going to cost money, and it's not probably going to be 100% through sponsorships. However, the money that is being freed up through general funds is coming from another bucket, and that bucket is being taken care of. So I know that our community had a lot of confusion about the rally was going to be 100% sponsorship. It's not, but we're not taking services away as a result of that. I know that doesn't make sense. It makes sense in my head.
It makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, just to summarize, I just want to say thank you. It must have taken a lot of time and energy to put everything together. And, I really appreciate prioritizing again, our community and our staff. So thank you, and transparency.
Thank you, Councilmember Morales. Other comments? Vice Mayor, did you have a comment? Go ahead.
I do. I might want to consider not allowing Councilmember Morales to speak first because she takes a lot of the really good points. I mirror a lot of what Councilmember Morales has said. Great job, city staff. Excellent work. So proud of what you've been able to do. No layoffs, furloughs, reduction in services, more transparency. It's really exciting. It does mean a lot of work, and putting together this binder definitely is a lot of work I went through it as well, and very proud of what you were able to do there. And I realized that reducing, these vacant positions and eliminating them does, somebody's got to continue to do that work. And every time we give a directive, I need to be thinking about that. Like, somebody's going to have to do this work. And I will make sure that I am more mindful of that, but very proud of every single person that put this together. I'm really excited. This has been an adventure, and not one that we would really want to keep going through. But if we stay on top of it, we can work together to make sure that we stay out of the red and we are in the black. So I'm really happy that we are going to keep the discretionary funds kind of away, save $250,000 there, sell some property. And again, great work, staff. So proud. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Other comments? Councilmember Deanda, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. So I echo the same sentiments as my colleagues up here. And again, I would like to extend my greatest gratitude to the city manager. I know, and fellow staff, I know that actually I can only imagine how difficult it was to being able to balance the budget better, and with a lot of bumps in the road and some things, that we thought would set us back, but you pulled through, and I think it shows how, the more we collaborate, we could achieve these, difficult things and make these difficult decisions, but really ultimately it's for the best interest of the community as a whole. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for hanging on. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Deanda. Councilmember Resendez?
Not at this time, Mayor Stevens.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, and then I will just finish up with also many thanks to our city managers, our city leadership, and all staff, including our labor unions, and our community. What we had asked when we started this budget process this year, as we headed into some very difficult a budget season, having to make a very difficult decision. What we required was for all of us to come together and acknowledge where we were and understand that together we had to make some difficult decisions, and we were able to do that. So many, many thanks for that, as well as all the hard work that it took to get to this point. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that can be very difficult, and everybody on staff, all leadership, city council, our community, we pulled together. So I just want to congratulate everybody and thank you for that. Having said that, I want to make sure that that I remind or restate some of the things that our city manager, Mr. Maroney, just said. It's going to be very important that we stay very vigilant, that we stay very disciplined as we move forward, because we need to stay on top of this budget so that we continue in the black. If we feel like we're slipping in one area, we can always come back, make some adjustments. If things look better than we had thought, then we can make some changes that way as well. But I think it's just very crucial that in this very difficult budget year that we stay very vigilant, very disciplined, and very focused. I also just want to reiterate the sentiment around looking for ways to grow on the revenue side. There's always going to be needs and wants in the expenditure side. We know that. And we need to really look for opportunities to increase revenue. So I think that will be the theme of our next fiscal year, looking for opportunities to grow our revenue. So having said that, final thanks to our city manager for his leadership and this hard work for this budget, and to all of our other administrative staff. and all staff with the city. So with that, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Mayor Stevens, I just have one more comment.
Go ahead. Oh, Councilmember Morales, apologize. Go ahead.
I do want to keep in mind that there are two groups. So our public safety, which is at a little higher than 20% vacancy, and our middle managers as well. Just want to make sure that as we move forward, and I think Vice Mayor, you said it really well, is as we're looking in terms of the asks for the city, that we keep in mind that when there's asked that there has to be people to do the work. And so those are two groups that I really would like for next year to see how we can bring them so that we don't have that level of vacancy rate. Once you have vacancy rate of over 20%, it does become extremely difficult for them to do the work, especially as our community grows. So that would be something that I would ask council, is just to be mindful of, which I think was really well said. Thank you for reminding me of that, Rudy.
Okay, great. Thank you for that final comment. Okay, so now I will entertain a motion regarding this resolution.
I move to approve.
I second.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Resendez,
Yes.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember Deanda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. So let's move on with our next item. 7.2, resolution authorizing the fiscal year 2025-26 Community Facilities District Number 2 Annual Levy. Can we get a staff report?
Yeah, I'm gonna hop in before William gives an update. So the next three items are very, very similar. And so maybe William, you can talk about how they work and then not have to give a staff report on all three of them.
Oh, okay.
If that
so-
works for you.
Yeah, so if
It's a very similar process. You just repeat it for each one.
So if you are looking on the agenda, this is for the public, then just look at 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4. Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Dave, because I was going to make that same request. So these three items are the annual levy for community facilities districts, number 2, number 4, and number 6. Number 5, I'm sorry, 2, 4, and 5. This is the annual levy for those districts, and in those in district number 2 and number 5, it's for public safety, fire, and police. And district number 4 is for the landscape maintenance, sidewalk repairs, street lights, street paving or maintenance, those types of things, the signs in the districts. Generally, we have, when new developments come in, we have them agree to be included in the community facilities district, because you need a certain amount of votes. And if it's one landowner that owns the whole thing and they agree, then it's just one signature, and then it includes all of those parcels as it's split up. Basically, that's kind of how they work. I don't know if you have any questions on these three items. It's just the annual levy. This could have actually been on the consent agenda. I was told this is the first year that engineering took this over from planning. So this is the first year we're doing it. So I'm a little rusty on this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the approval, Mayor, is to allow us to do the annual levy. So you'll see this item every year.
Yeah. Okay.
All three of them.
Thank you. Okay. So any questions from the council on any of the three agenda items? Okay. Okay. Not seeing any. Do we have any? Did we have a comment over this side?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Morales.
And again, I'm not too certain about this process, but were the people that are, or the organizations that are going to be impacted, were they notified?
I can handle that, William. So how this one works is when you buy your home, it'll be part of, the condition, your title report, it'll be on title that this comes with the property. And so that's all part of it, the annual adjustment. And so basically when you buy your home, it's one of the disclosures. And so it shows as a property tax line item, which is basically just an assessment. And so as your property value, we talked about the assessor's role, as your property tax increases, then this piece would increase accordingly. And so, and then CFD2, we no longer annex properties into it, that we now do it into CFD4. So anytime you have any new residential or commercial or residential, they're annexed into CFD4 and 5. And as William said, it's a condition of the development. And then for commercial, the way that we do it currently is they are only annexed into CFD4. From a revenue discussion, I think that's something that the council may want to consider in the future. I know it was the thought behind it was an economic development activity to not annex commercial or industrial properties into CFD 5, which is public safety. However, there is nothing to stop a commercial or industrial building from needing the services of the police department and certainly the fire department. So that's the way the current process works. There's not a notification that goes out because this is just an automatic process. So you're not approving an increase, you're just approving the levying of it, and then it's a percentage of the property value.
Thank you.
And then you will need to take each item separately and vote on them all separately and take public comment on them separately. But the presentation, I thought we could bundle it, save you a little time.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead then. I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm not seeing any. So let's go to public comment on item 7.2, resolution authorizing the fiscal year 25-26 community facilities district number 2 annual levy. Any speaker cards?
Just for the record, this is the opening of the public hearing. All these items have to be public hearings.
Okay, so do I open the public hearing first and then ask for, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and open the public hearing. And then do I need to read each item and open and close the public hearing for each item?
You do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just thank you for that. I just wanted to make sure that we get the process in right. Okay, so opening public hearing for item number 1, and then now I will look for any speaker cards.
No speakers for this item.
Okay, so I will close public hearing on item 7.2, and then any other council deliberation or questions? If not, okay, I will entertain a motion.
So move.
I second.
A roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Resendez,
I think he had to get off, so I think we are only the 4 of us now.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember DeAnda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay.
Yeah, and Councilmember Resendez did confirm with me that he logged off.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for that. So that's passed. So let's move on to 7.3, resolution authorizing fiscal year 25-26 community facilities, district number 4 annual levy. And I will ask for any questions on that item. No questions. I will open the public hearing. Do we have any speaker cards for that item?
No speakers, Mayor Stevens.
Okay. So we'll close public hearing on that one, and I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember DeAnda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to 7.3, resolution authorizing the fiscal year 25-26 community facilities district number 5 annual levy. And any questions from my fellow council members? None. Okay. So I will open public hearing. Any speaker cards on that item?
No speakers for this item.
Okay. So we're closing, and then I will check for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember DeAnda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So let's move on to item 7.5, sunset the Historical Resources Commission, modify the meeting schedule of the Airport Advisory Commission, and formally disband the Hollister Disaster Council. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Mayor, City Council, City Clerk Jennifer Woodworth. So this is a item that came back to you following the direction at your May 19th, 2025 meeting where we discussed the various committees or commissions and boards at the city. And so this is the formal action through resolutions and one ordinance to be able to change the schedule for those various commission and also to disband the Historic Resources Commission as well as the Disaster Council. So this is just a follow-up on your direction.
Okay. Thank you for that. Do we have any questions from the council? No questions. Okay. So we will, now this is a public hearing as well. Okay, so we will open the public hearing. Any speaker cards on this?
No speakers for this item.
Okay. Close the public hearing and then any other deliberation or discussion from council? Okay, not hearing any, I will entertain a motion on the resolution.
You can do all three items, so you can make a motion to introduce the ordinance and then make a motion to and adopt a resolution amending the Airport Advisory Commission bylaws and rescinding Resolution 2020-44. It can all be combined.
Okay, so I will go ahead and so moved this what our
It could
city
be,
attorney just said.
Yes, as
So
stated by
I
the
will
city
do
attorney.
that motion and then I'll just ask for a second.
I'll
I
second.
second. Yep.
Wait, who's the mover though? I got 2 seconds
Morales.
just now.
Um,
Morales.
And then so roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember Deanda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
and for the record, the mayor made the motion.
Oh, okay. As I said, I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I made the
Yes,
motion.
and
Okay.
Councilmember
Se-
Morales second.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
thank you. Okay, so let's move on to council business. 8.1, a resolution declaring 190 Maple Street as surplus property. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, thank you. David Marioni, City Manager, and I'll be presenting on the 190 Maple surplus property action. So as part of budget, we did get direction to work to put this property up for sale. I believe I stated the budget did not consider any revenue from that. It's still got to go through a process. But what in California, there's the Surplus Land Act, which places requirements on public entities prior to disposing of real property. And that can be the sale or a lease term longer than 15 years of surplus land. And under the act, we have to take formal action in a regular public meeting declaring the land to be surplus, and then sending a notice of availability to specific agencies and housing sponsors that have notified the Department of Housing and Community Development, that's HCD, of their interest and allow 60 days for a response. Under the act, the disposition of surplus land is subject to review and approval by HCD. And so think about it as HCD, that's where your housing element goes. This is another law that they put in place that basically says, hey, if a government agency is looking to get rid of property, you need to notify, it could be affordable housing developers, those types of folks that have registered with the state. So with the approval, what we'll do is there's a little process, we'll send it in. We send a notification out to an email list. The last time I did it, I think there was like 900 different emails that you send it to, and then you gauge interest. We'll see where that goes. I would be surprised if we had someone that wanted to buy that for affordable housing because they would have to demolish that property. And, so that would be very expensive dirt that they would have to get to dirt would be very expensive. Because we're the owner, we are required to do this process, and we recommend that you adopt a resolution declaring the property as surplus and authorize us to notify HCD and any other entities as required by the act. With that, I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you for that report. Any questions from the council? Questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. So let's go to public comment. Any speaker cards on this item?
No speakers for this item.
Okay, so we'll come back to the dais. Closed public comment. Any other deliberation or discussion from council members? Not seeing any, then I will, so I think the direction would just be to move forward with the, with exploring the sale of this property. Do you need anything more specific than that?
You need a motion to approve the resolution declaring it surplus property.
Okay, okay. I will entertain a motion.
Make
Yeah,
a
I'll-
motion to,
Yeah, I'll have to provide that to the state, the actual resolution, so.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, Councilmember Morales.
make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll get a sec. Can I get a second?
A second.
Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Pache,
Aye.
Councilmember Morales, Councilmember Deanda,
Yes.
and Mayor Stevens.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0.
thank you. Okay, so let's move on to 9.1, committee assignments. So any, council members, would you, if you have a report on any activities on ad hocs, standing committees, or, please make your report. So let me check in with Councilmember Deanda. Anything to report?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. This side, Councilmember Morales.
We had an integrated waste management meeting. It was great. The committee is looking at how we can assess the impacts of the various events that we hold, what the outcomes or desired outcomes and a cost associated with the event. So I just want to extend my thanks to staff for putting that together and compiling reports that are meaningful for decision makings and greater impact to our community.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Morales. Vice Mayor, anything to report?
Yeah, I was on the AMPAC June 11th, 2025 meeting. It's actually kind of a quick meeting, just informational reports from the executive and finance committee. We did approve the budget, oral communications from the board, Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, just took an informational report, executive director's report. Basically took in a lot of information and it is available on request. So not much more information than that.
Great. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, so I will just make a quick report. We had a very quick LAFCO meeting this last week, and a lot of just housekeeping things for the end of the fiscal year. Renewing the contract for the executive director was part of discussion, as well as just planning for agenda items for next fiscal year. So it was a pretty low-key meeting, so nothing much more to report. We had an independence rally meeting in which Councilmember Resendez and I were able to meet with our city leadership, with our security contractor, with the promoter, and the meeting led by our city manager. So that was a very good meeting. It was a extended meeting. We had a meeting here about what the details of the security would look like, as well as some of the layout plans for, like, where's the parking, where will vendors be, where will our first responders be, where will our biker community be, etc. And then we actually did a walkthrough of the layout for the rally, and that was actually really exciting. Had a lot of great discussion among all parties. I just want to say an incredible thanks to everybody who participated, especially our two chiefs, our fire chief Golding and our police chief Reynoso, as they are finalizing all the details and partnering really nicely with our security contractor on all safety related planning. And so that was really exciting to see that. And it was really great to meet with the promoter to talk about final details for marketing and other things that are happening related to the events planned for that day. I'm sorry, for those 2 days. So we will be meeting again this week. So I'm looking forward to that meeting, and we'll continue to report that as we, actually may not come back to report it. Maybe we'll be reporting it after the rally has been completed. But final details coming along very nicely. And I appreciate the comments in the earlier from public comment from Mr. Morgan about, the theme of cooperation and being respectful and kind to each other that came up over and over in our discussion. And there's complete commitment by all parties to approach any interaction with our public and with each other in that way. So I'm looking forward to a really good, successful rally. So I just want to, again, like many, many thanks to everybody who was involved in that meeting and in planning the walkthrough. It was very informative, and I appreciate all the collaboration. So many thanks for that. And that's all I will report on that. Okay, so let's move on then to council, city council, council report, city council request for future agenda items. So we have the empty building policy ordinance from Councilmember Morales. Everybody okay with that one? Any questions? I'm good with that. Okay, so I'm seeing a thumbs up. So it looks like we have thumbs up. So that's good to go on that one. Thank you for that item, Councilmember Morales. And then city manager report.
Yeah, I think you touched on it. I just wanted to remind everybody that with the conclusion of this evening's meeting, our next regularly scheduled meeting is August 4th. We go dark in July. So just want to just remind the public of that. So with that, nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so then we're going to go into closed session. So I'm going to turn it over to city attorney to read that.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency designated representative City Manager David Marioni and City Attorney Mary Lerner. Employee organizations, Service Employees International Union, SEIU Local 521, Hollister Firefighters Union, HFFU Local 3395, Hollister Peace Officer Association, HPOA, and unrepresented employees. The next item is conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Property 190 Maple Avenue, Hollister, California 95023. Agency negotiator David Marioni, City Manager, under negotiation, purchase terms and conditions.
Okay, I'm gonna ask if there's any public comment, and then I'm gonna take one quick step back because I just one thing that I forgot to report on. But any public comment on closed session items?
No public comment for either closed
Okay.
session item.
Thank you. And I am so sorry, but I would be remiss if I did not report on here. I'm going to pass these on to my fellow council members if you will display these. If you can just like open them and display this. So we had our, annual Pride flag raising ceremony this week, and it was a very small event, but it was very nice. It was attended by our partners in San Juan Bautista, Mayor Leslie Jordan, and a city council member. So that was really, really great. And then we had members of staff, representative from Assemblyman Rivas, or Speaker Rivas's office, from Senator John Laird's office, and then from Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren's office, who gave their recognitions and acknowledging our Pride ceremony. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all three of them, and thank you for participating, as well as all the public who came out to recognize Pride Month, which is June, as well as to watch the flag raising. And thank you again to the hardworking city staff who put the event together. Thank you. Now we will go into closed session.